age 15, my business studies teacher wrote in my report card, Steve has an incredible tendency to ask a lot of questions. And although we admire his curiosity, it can become very, very time-consuming. And he was right. At age 17, I remember jumping up in the common room when I saw the heads of my school debating which coffee machines to buy and asking them, why are you spending money on coffee machines? If you reason from first principles and think about this challenge we have ahead of us, we don't need to sift through catalogs and pay for coffee machines. We have 2,000 paying customers in our school. Surely the coffee machine companies should be paying us. And so on my break time, I went to the computer room and I emailed the 5 coffee machine companies in the area. And within a month, our whole school and neighboring schools were equipped with coffee machines. Cool, right? But that sense of curiosity wouldn't always lead me to such successful outcomes. At 18, I'd started to question the conventional educational model, and that had led me to stop going to school. I stopped believing that school was going to give me what I needed it to for me to become who I wanted to be. And so I stopped going, and a month after I stopped going, my attendance hits 20%, and I got expelled from school. And anyone who has an African mother, a traditional African mother, knows exactly why when the school called home and told them that I had been expelled, I took a long time to walk home. But I knew one thing for sure. I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be a business person. And convention told me, you go to university, you sit in the room, and if you want to be something in life, you have to go to university and get that degree, that piece of paper. But being who I am, I started to challenge that idea. Sat in my first lecture at university. I'm sat there and I'm thinking, if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, who am I going to show this degree to? Is a degree from a bad university going to work for me, or is it going to work against me? And am I really going to learn what I need to learn about running a business by sitting in a lecture theatre? I decided that I didn't find that to be true. And so I did what Steve Bartlett always does. And a few months after I dropped out, I had an idea for a business. It was called Wall Park. The idea was to bring students into a social media realm where we could create a big wall and the universities could participate, and students and anyone who had a stake in the student world. And Wall Park took me about 18 months to build. And then when I built it, I encountered a problem. I needed very important people to invest in my company. I need developers to join my team. I needed to get the attention of very, very important people. And again, I looked at the conventional way of doing that. The conventional way said you send out cold emails and you make cold phone calls, right? But when I thought about that problem again from the most fundamental things that I knew to be true, that's not the answer I came to. Important people are busy. They get a lot of phone calls. They get a lot of emails. Those emails are impersonal. Often they're handled by their PA. And if I was going to attract their attention, I needed to do something different, right? And so I went to the shops and I bought a big pile of gold envelopes. Big pile of gold envelopes, because when you get a gold envelope in the post, right, you think you might have won something. You'll knock the other post out of the way to get to that one, and especially if it's got your name written on it and a bow on it, and inside it has a handwritten letter. And that approach led to me to get investors in my company. It led Panasonic to send me tens of thousands of pounds worth of free equipment. And soon after, Wall Park launched. And when Wall Park launched, we encountered a problem or a challenge that virtually every business encounters. We had very little money, but we needed millions of people to come to our website if this was going to work out, right? And so I did what I always did. But this time I had no money. And when I say no money, I actually mean minus money. I'd maxed out on all my credit cards. I'd managed to get 3. I'd maxed out on all my overdrafts, so I'd managed to get 4. I had a growing pile of bailiff letters on my desk. I'd got myself a CCJ. I was eating a concoction of powdered oats every single day, which is a mixture of flour, water, and powdered oats, and I lost about 2 stone in weight because I had no money. My computer no longer resembled a computer. And to get it to work, I had to solder the wires on it with a Christmas ball, and it would probably last for about half an hour unless I didn't move it. But nonetheless, we had to find a way to get millions of people to come to our website. Convention, of course, says, if you want to get students, you flyer them and you put posters up and you get ads in the student newspapers. But again, when we started from the most fundamental thing we knew to be true about that challenge, we were able to create a new solution. I mapped out the day of a student starting from when they wake up in the morning to when they fall asleep at night, and I filled in everything in between. And we didn't see the opportunity to get a student to a website being flyering them on their way to their lecture. We thought they spend their time on the phone. And so we took their phones and we looked at where they spent that time. And on a mobile phone, you can go into the settings and see exactly where someone's spending their time. And the answer was loud and clear. It was social media. And so we reasoned one step up from there. We said, we need to be on social media. And I found a student Twitter page that had 3,000 followers run by a guy called Dom. I went and met Dom. I told him to drop out of university as well. Much to his mother's dismay, he did. And he joined me in Manchester, and we built all the largest student communities in this part of the world. We built 50 big student pages. And we used those pages to drive millions of people to our website every month. We had 4 million people on social media. We were getting about 1 million people come to our website every month. Fantastic. We won awards as the traffic built. We were on TV, all over the papers. I was Wall Park guy. Hey, Steve, you Wall Park guy? I am. But then we encountered our next problem. We needed to make money. Awkward. And so we looked at the conventional model. The conventional model says, you've got a website, all your traffic's coming from social media, all you've got to do is put brands on your website, right? But when you think about it, again, from the most fundamental things you know to be true, again, that model was broken. Brands just want students, right? We had 4 million students on social media. We had 1 million coming to our website directly from social media. Why did you need Wall Park? You can just put the brands on social media. And so I did what Steve Bartlett always does. After 3 years of building this company and building a team and being Wall Park guy, I quit. And I spent the next few months of my life going around the country, rounding up every young person in their bedroom who had built a large social media account. And we still hire 25 of them full-time today. These kids have built some of the largest social media pages in the world. We own hundreds and hundreds of these pages. And we connected this big chain and we called it Social Chain. And then we encountered our next problem. We had a company come to us that had an addictive mobile game, and they said, hey, can you market this game for us? We'd never marketed anyone else's product before. And so we've got all these pages, and we looked at the challenge ahead of us. And convention says you can do paid ads on Facebook and Twitter to market an application. But when we dug down even deeper into that model, we discovered that it's not that convincing for you to tell me that your product is good. And if people are going to check out your product, you're going to have to make them care. Right now, no one cares about this game. And there's so much noise on social media that it's really, really hard to be heard. And so, again, we went against convention. We flipped that model on its head. And from every one of our social media pages, we told everybody not to download this game. It would ruin your life if you download it. From our student pages, we said, do not download TippyTap. It will ruin your life. You won't get a degree. Retweet to save a degree. From our British pages, we said, we likened TippyTap to late buses, the Germans, and David Cameron. And that happened all at once one night. And that curiosity and that fear of missing out, what is this thing? It's come left field. Made 2 million people, almost instantly, download our game. It went to #1 in the overall App Store, where it sat above Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It did hundreds of thousands in revenue in the first month. Thank God we had that revenue share. It trended #1 on Twitter. It was on BBC News the next day, and it was a phenomenon. And as our demand for our services built, we encountered a new challenge. We needed to hire really creative people. And so I did what I always do. I looked at the conventional model. The conventional model said you take CVs, right? But CVs aren't an expression of someone's creativity, and it doesn't tell you anything about them. And who am I as a dropout to judge someone on how well qualified they are? And I believe that if someone can creatively sell themselves, then they can probably sell our brands. And so we made our application process a competition of creativity. Here's one example. One day, someone flew an owl into my office. I am not lying. The owl landed on my arm, and it dropped a USB stick onto my desk. And that's not even the most ridiculous application we've had. The next challenge encountered was, how do you keep a room full of mainly dropouts together in a company? And we looked at what everyone else does in the space. They say, impose rules, discipline, that should do it. That should control them. But I didn't believe in that either. We know that people will work harder if they love their job. They'll fight for it, they'll value it, they'll protect it. And fundamentally, families are stronger than teams. And if people love where they work, they'll like coming to work. And so I took an old derelict warehouse, converted it to a bit of a playground with slides and puppies and unlimited alcohol. No rules. You can have as many holidays as you like. You don't have to give notice periods. There's a zip wire being built into the office at the moment. There's trees, areas to sleep. And the company set one rule, which still is written on the wall and the chalkboard in our office today: do not die. The company grew, and it grew, and it grew. And in 16 months, it's based in 4 locations around the world, over 60 full-time members of staff. In its first full year, it's set to do 8 to 10 million in revenue. We've completely reimagined the way that we do business. Importantly to me, no one has ever left Social Chain. We've gone on to win some of the biggest awards in our industry, and even more importantly than all of that, my mum's happy. When I look back at the moments that defined me and defined my journey, there's a clear and a very consistent pattern. I was brave enough to ignore convention and focus first on building solutions based on the problems I was experienced, based on the most fundamental truths that I could find, and I reasoned up from there. Although time-consuming, like my business studies teacher told me, that allowed me to create solutions that were innovative, designed for this moment, and designed for my circumstances. I believe this way of thinking can help you build better solutions for your life and can help us build a better future for ourselves and our kids. Thank you.